Summary of Bargaining for Advantage. Negotiation Strategies for Reasonable People. By G. Richard Schell. Everyday negotiations. Negotiating is a part of daily life. Yet, this basic building block of communication can still cause great anxiety and drive people to seek simplistic, suboptimal solutions. To be a successful negotiator, you must confront your fears and realize that every negotiation is unique. Once you understand the psychology behind the process, you can embrace new approaches to bargaining. Negotiating is a process of resolving disagreements and attaining goals. It relies upon reciprocity. Negotiations usually follow this sequence: preparation for the meeting, exchange of views, presentation of proposals and counter-proposals, agreement, and finally commitment. However, before you begin any of these steps, make sure that you have the correct attitude and approach. The 6 foundations of good negotiation are: 1. Know yourself. Recognize your personal negotiating style. If you are easygoing, you will not turn into a hard-nosed negotiator just because you start to bargain. Although more competitive people thrive on bargaining, fairness and reason also hold pivotal places at the negotiating table. Based on your personality, you will respond to negotiation in one of 5 ways. 1. Avoid. You steer clear of bargaining because you deem it unnecessary or too stressful, or you are content with the status quo. 2. Compromise. You agree to share the rewards with the counterparties. 3. Accommodate. You accommodate the other party, but without a formal agreement about how you will divide the rewards. 4. Compete. You are a tough, competitive negotiator. You adopt a hard line and might resort to unethical acts to get your way. 5. Collaborate. You devise creative solutions to dilemmas that block your way. Research shows that gender plays a role in negotiation. Female negotiators often use arguments based on fairness, are more willing to cooperate and display a desire to conserve the relationship. Culture also influences bargaining style. In Lebanon, for example, walking away from the bargaining table indicates you are a serious negotiator, not that you are disgusted. Other cultures allow bargaining solely between individuals at the same executive level. People from Latin American, Asian, Middle Eastern, and African cultures prefer to establish social relationships before they negotiate. That means Western mediators should participate in this important process before getting to work. Regardless of gender or culture, successful negotiators need good preparation, attentive listening skills, trustworthiness, and self-confidence. 2. Know your goals. Negotiating is not about price alone. Many negotiators achieve their target prices, only to see the deals collapse because the counterparty failed to deliver or egos intervened. Although ego plays a role in setting an optimistic target, temper it with logic and reason. People who enter negotiations with high expectations and clear goals emerge with better results, so write down specific objectives and, if you need it, bring a cheat sheet as a reminder. 3. Recognize norms and standards. Negotiators frequently search for a common standard to help them anchor their arguments and bargaining positions. Adhering to this norm allows both parties to appear reasonable and consistent. Since people innately strive to interpret the world in a consistent way, negotiators should present a case which resonates with the other party's worldviews, thus securing common ground. You can use this desire for consistency to your advantage. Begin by verifying simple principles with your counterparty, such as, your company should seek a price that is in line with what similar companies charge, don't you think? If you can subsequently show how their current argument is at odds with that principle, you can gain ground. Your proposed price is 30% higher than comparable firms' prices. Relying on standards and norms is a powerful approach, especially when you link it to an authority figure or a strong slogan that summarizes your bargaining position. Citing an authoritative source. An expert, a historical fact, or the market is also potent, since many cultures emphasize respect for a larger belief system. 4. Build and exploit relationships. People expect to be treated the way they treat others. This creates trust, a prevailing social force. When you make a concession, wait for the other person to make a similar allowance as a show of reciprocity. Friendship can be another powerful element in negotiations. Studies show that the styles of bargaining differ dramatically when friends, as opposed to strangers, conduct negotiations. Couples who negotiate together make simple compromises and do not fully analyze each situation, so they accept less beneficial deals. 5. Be aware of the other party's objectives. Each person perceives the world differently. This can constitute a major obstacle in negotiations. 3 factors explain why it is hard to change a person's stance on most topics. 1. Humans tend to see the world solely through their individual lenses. 2. They are naturally competitive and put their own interests first. 3. They are unable to recognize shared goals. Top negotiators make big efforts to detect the other party's motivations and fears and to establish common ground. Find shared goals by identifying the main decision maker, discovering what you can provide that will help your counterparty reach his or her goal, finding out what the other side objects to, and determining which concessions you can make. 6. Gain an advantage. Leverage, the balance of needs and fears, provides the added clout you need to reach a deal. It is fluid and perception-based. It often involves finding a creative solution to a problem and sometimes requires playing on other people's concerns. Another way to think about leverage is to calculate which party has the most to lose if negotiations fail. Employ this relevant social rule: people fear their losses more than they value their gains. Coalitions also affect the dynamics of leverage by providing what psychologists call social proof. People prefer to be guided in uncertain situations. In a business meeting, the first proposal, regardless of its quality, often becomes the consensus opinion. This occurs in other settings, too. Often, the first verdict a jury returns is the same decision it will unanimously reach later on. Let the games begin. The first stage of the negotiating process is formulating a plan. Determine your approach based on the level of tension surrounding the outcome. 4 main variables dictate the tone, style, and strategy of any negotiation. 1. The desire or need to maintain future relationships. 2. Whether common concerns exist between the participants. 3. The type of transaction. 4. The level of mutual coordination needed. The second stage, gathering and exchanging information, allows parties to establish a basis for discussion about the issues, interests, and expectations at hand. Relationship building takes precedence. The other essential actions during this stage are asking questions, ensuring that you understand the other party's position, and then summarizing the discussion. These actions can help you identify the common areas that may serve as negotiating focal points. If you have an ultimatum to deliver, experts say the best time to disclose it is near the start of negotiations. This disclosure will frame the discussion and temper unrealistic expectations from the other side. You can signal that you have leverage by using one of 4 tactics. You can bluff and make the other party think you have a better offer or stronger negotiating power. You can be open and present the alternatives for everyone to discuss. You can explain your alternatives and be flexible to show your generosity. Or you can request sympathy from the stronger party and ask how they would handle the situation. Openings and concessions. Making concessions is the basic interaction that holds society together. Concession making is also the most studied part of the negotiation process. One commonly accepted idea is to let the other side make the first offer. This never open rule holds true if you do not know the market. However, another popular approach is to do your research and then be the first to set the price, since it anchors expectations and establishes the range. You can put a price forward either ambitiously or realistically. Optimistic openings give you more room to alter your price, which, in turn, encourages the other side to make concessions. In South America, the Middle East and Africa, optimistic or even excessive opening prices are the norm. In general, though, if you are short on leverage, face a bargaining brick wall, or want to conserve the relationship, realistic opening prices constitute a better option. The end game. At the closing stages of negotiations, be aware of overcommitment. This psychological factor comes into play when people invest a lot of time in an activity and develop an interest in seeing it completed. It can lead them to agree to less than ideal resolutions. To close a negotiation swiftly and efficiently, try these techniques. Suggest scarcity. Make the offer seem temporary, set a deadline, walk out of negotiations. However, if you need to preserve the relationship, or favor a fair bargaining style, offering to split the difference is a good tactic. It is quick, easy to understand and shows reciprocity. Reaching an agreement is not the last step in any negotiation. The ultimate goal is to get the other side to commit. Then, the parties must implement the commitment. When individuals receive particular responsibilities, they are more likely to fulfill their end of the overall bargain. In the business world, down payments, performance bonds, and deposits all demonstrate commitment. If you fail to perform, you forfeit something. In 1997, when Dean Witter, Discover and Company and Morgan Stanley arranged to merge, they each agreed that if one party reneged on the deal, it would pay the other $250 million. Part of the commitment ritual in Western culture is a simple handshake, perhaps followed by a public announcement. Writing down a commitment, such as filling out an order form or questionnaire, builds awareness. In more complex deals, such as car or house purchases, the parties simultaneously exchange a contract and money to secure the deal. Ethics. Ethical behavior is a major concern in any negotiation, but lying is so prevalent that it frequently becomes part of the bargaining process. Numerous studies have found that a variety of professionals regard personal integrity as one of the most meaningful criteria for any professional negotiator. The extreme opposite of integrity is dishonesty or willingness to commit fraud, when a person knowingly misrepresents a crucial fact which the other party relies upon to make its decision. If you encounter this, walk away from the bargaining table. In some situations, such as those involving a fiduciary relationship, the law makes a provision for misrepresentation, which can lead to fraud by nondisclosure. A good rule of thumb for negotiators: don't accept everything at face value.